Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about the Analects of Confucius 4.9. And we're going to be just talking about the way, again, like we've talked about last time, and the moral test of poverty. And without further ado, let's get started. 4.9, the master said, "There is no point in talking to a man with professional aspirations who sets his heart on the way, but who is ashamed of poor clothing and poor food." So the man with professional aspirations is kind of like a aspiring moral learner, or a gentleman scholar, I guess, which is someone who wants to learn the way to live, or the proper way to live, which is what we're going to be talking about, the way, or the Dao, which you hear a lot in Taoism, because, So to state this simply, Confucius is saying, if someone claims that he is aiming at the way, but he is still ashamed of kind of simple or lower than simple conditions, then he's still not very ready to talk about the way yet. So a true seeker of the way should place moral truth above any kind of physical appearances, because, well, if you understand the way first, then everything will come according to your way, I guess. And plus, as the student, your goal is to learn the way. And so if you're concerned about two things at once, the way and what other people think, or your kind of physical appearance or conditions, then you're focusing on two things at once, and so you can't completely focus on learning the way yet. But I also want to clarify that Confucius doesn't mean that more simple conditions, or maybe poverty, is inherently good. It's not inherently good that you're in poverty, or it's not good to stay that way. But instead, Confucius looks at this as more like a moral test. So when poverty comes, can you still, hang in there and not focus so much on that, and instead focus on how you could improve to become better, either physically or morally? And in this case, in 4.9, he says more like morally. So poverty is essentially testing you to see if you can still stay true to the way and practice it in all its glory, even when you're kind of stripped of comfort. And now it's time for an example. So during the times when you were still in school, or if you're at school right now, I think that we all know the two stereotypical archetypes of, for example, the popular people and the maybe not so popular people, who in my schooling experiences are usually the more smarter ones, while the popular people are more concerned about their outward appearance and especially how they would look to others their age. And so a connection that could be made here is that the man with professional aspirations, like Confucius is talking about here, who says he's aiming for the way but is still concerned about his outward appearance, could be the popular side of the many different school kind of hierarchies, I suppose. And so if one is so concerned about what they wear every day, and how much makeup they put on, or all about kind of making friends and making different connections, or maybe forming different relationships, then one can't really focus on schoolwork and focus on being successful and getting straight A's and getting into a good university or a good job or anything like that. While the less popular people, the reason why they're less popular is because they don't focus on their clothing or their social connections or anything of the sort, and instead they focus more on how to do well in school. And so Confucius says that those kind of nerdy people are the ones who are capable of talking seriously about the way, because they're not focused at all, or maybe not that much, on their outward appearance or how they look to other people. And so a true learner of the way doesn't care if their clothes are kind of more on the simple side or their food is plain. And if you are ashamed of looking poor to other people, then you're not really ready to talk about the way yet, or real virtue yet. Put another side to my words, and I just realized that I kind of sound like that you shouldn't be ashamed of being poor, but we're talking in the context of your aims. So if your aim is getting rich, then there's nothing wrong with that. And Confucius does say, like I talked about earlier, Confucius doesn't say that being poor is the virtue. That's not the case. But right now for 4.9, we're explaining what one is meant to do when one is aiming for the way. So if you're aiming for the way, but you're ashamed of being poor, then that's not good. But if you're aiming for, let's say, if you're aiming for getting rich and being financially successful and you're ashamed of being poor, then that's actually good. And yeah, that'll be all today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I'll be more than happy to answer you. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!